The listing agent called me and he asked me the coloring of my client. I was like, green. My client is green. Yeah, that's a good answer. My client is green. Hello, everyone. This is Ashley Jamerson coming to you from Ashley Lambert Realty. I hope you guys are doing great. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's an idea that I came up with months and months ago because I figured it would be very interesting to know, well, what did they offer? If they rejected my offer, what did they offer? How did it win? And luckily, there is a way for us agents to check it out once it closes. And for highly competitive houses and multiple offer situations, it's just good to know what you are up against. I literally made a list of just some, oh my gosh, just some of the rejected offers. I've had a couple of clients between 2020 and 2021 who broke the 15 offers submitted before an offer got accepted threshold. Some even past 20. Those clients, well, one of them only did 3 and they got the offer accepted. But those ones that had like multiple, like a ton, the whole time I was like, hey, let's look at new construction. Hey, let's look at new, trust me, it's going to be a lot more peaceful, a lot more easy. Little did I know we were going to run into delays on those. I did wonder, like, what in the world did they offer? If we submitted this amazing offer, what beat it? I made notes, like pre-notes, but I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to pull it up and like show you so you can see. One thing to keep in mind is my clients, they trust me, they listen to me. You know, I always let them know that when they lose out on a house, their house is out there. Or if they look online, they see a house that they feel will be the house and the agent just took really good pictures and then edited those things up, I just continually remind them, like, I don't mind showing you as many houses. It's not like TV where they go see 3 houses, submit one offer, and it's accepted. And it's not even like TV when they counter offer, because none of these people receive the counter offer either. So very, very frustrating stuff. Very, very frustrating stuff. So I'm gonna let you into the world of real estate agents, and it lets you know that we don't even know what will get accepted. It's crazy. And sometimes I'm like, that offer is going to get accepted, and it doesn't. And it literally drives me crazy, but I keep a smile on my face the whole time and keep it going, because that's just what I do. Okay, so the very first house is going to be the one on Rotherham Lane. That's a fun one. I can literally see the house and I can remember which client it was, because I didn't write down which client it was. Okay, so this one is closed, obviously. This one was listed for $270 and it closed for $310,500. It was 1390 square feet, built in 1995, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. Again, it closed $310,500 and it was listed for $270. Check out that spread. Crazy, right? It sold for cash. My client offered $285, $11,000 in due diligence, $2,000 in earnest money. They had a conventional loan. It was 3 days on the market. We offered $15,000 over and it didn't get accepted. You're like, what? Okay, so let's do another one. So then we have 6318 Gammon Road. It was a 3-story condo. It's located at Avalon Mallard Creek and it was listed for $225,000 and it closed for $237,000. The HOA in this neighborhood is $170 a month, so you definitely have to take that into account. Again, it was on the market for 3 days. My clients offered $10,000 over. This townhome will qualify for FHA. Back in the day, I would get offers accepted with $500 due diligence, $500 earnest money, $1,000 due diligence. So I'm looking down at my notes, but all the due diligence monies, I have $12,000. Did not get accepted. $25,000 over asking, $16,000 in due diligence money, and $65,000 over asking, $65,000 over, and $16,000 in due diligence money, and my clients did not get it. So let's just look that one up, because this particular house was like, what? We didn't get it. You know, it was very stressful. Again, these clients, they have purchased a house, or I would not not be talking about it. I would still be stressing about it. But they did find a house that they do love. They did not settle, because I don't let my clients settle because they're buying a house and not a purse. Can't just send that thing back or sell it on Fashion File or something. It was listed for $550,000. It closed for $625,000. Conventional loan. They beat us by $10,000. So I have no idea what they offered in due diligence money and earnest money. That's just a need to know, like different price ranges, what to expect these days in a crazy seller's market. Yeah, they beat us by $10,000, even though we went $65,000 over list price. But this is out there in Mint Hill. It was on 0.7 acres. I remember this house. It was so cute. In a cul-de-sac, beautiful lot. I remember that the husband was like, oh my goodness, I gotta mow all that grass. Yeah, 3-car side load garage. Oh wow, let me see, when did they close? They went under contract July 23rd and they closed in September 10th. So it was a pretty long closing period. Let's look at some other ones. Oh, we have a good 0 days on market. Gotta love those. How in the heck did the house sell in 0 days? Because it was sight unseen. And that's just not something that I want my clients to do, because if you're putting up a lot of due diligence money and a lot of earnest money, again, due diligence money is non-refundable. I can't get that back. So if you get into the house and you're like, oh my gosh, it needs work. Oh my gosh, I hate it. I thought this room was bigger based off the pictures or anything like that. If that happens, forget about it. You're not getting your due diligence money back. You will get your earnest money back. These due diligence fees are a little bit cray-cray these days. So let's look at 401 Mallard. It's listed for $269,000 and it closed at $300,000. This beautiful 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home that was built in 1987 with a 1-car garage here in Charlotte had multiple offers. Best offers due by Sunday at 8 p.m. Desired to close in mid-August. They closed August 16th with a conventional loan. They beat us by $16,000. So you're probably wondering, what happens if the house does not appraise for that value? And if you remember, I did a video a while back that was talking about the different buckets of money, how you have your due diligence and earnest money bucket that happens at time of contract. Then you have your down payment, that is the 1%, 3%, 3.5%, 5+%. That is like the actual down payment towards the principal of the home. And then you have your closing costs, which are all the fees. Those are the initial buckets. That's the normal buckets that people deal with when they buy a home. However, a lot of these people who went way over on the asking price, they had to pay the gap. And no, there is no gap insurance. There was a rumor of a newbie agent here in the area that told their client there was gap insurance. There's no gap insurance when you're buying a house. The gap insurance is your money, okay? So you have to bring the difference. You can still buy the house. You just have to fill the gap. That gap is not always pretty. Sometimes the market caught up with it and it wasn't a big deal, but other times it didn't. I did have a gap issue on a house that one of my clients was purchasing. We had time enough to switch lenders and get another appraisal, because once we pulled comps and submitted them to the appraiser, I mean, the value was there in the house. An appraisal is just the appraiser's opinion, and sometimes they're wrong. In this situation, they were off. I think we came in $33,000 under, and then we had another appraisal and it closed $33,000. And I was like, what rock have you been sleeping under, right? Let's look at another one. I had a very interesting one, and I really want to show the address, but I don't want to start a fire. If that's the good way to say it. I just don't want to cause any drama, but I'll let you know that my clients made an offer on a house, and the house was listed at $599,000 and some change, and it sold for $605,000. We went $5,200 over list price, and so did the person who got it. My clients offered $10,000 due diligence and $10,000 earnest money, and this particular one, I have it starred because it caused me mad stress, because the listing agent called me and he asked me the coloring of my client. I was like, green. My client is green. Yeah, that's a good answer. My client is green. Are you going to accept their offer or not? And he was like, we'll accept the offer if you bring us the money tonight. And it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Like, we were going to date night with a sitter, meeting up with some friends for a double date, and they wanted us to sign it get them that money tonight after asking me the coloring of my green client. And I was like, oh, wow. And I wasn't going to say anything to my client, but when I told them, because I had to tell them, because obviously it's like out of the norm. But if they were to go under contract and they would try to like negotiate, repairs, or the appraisal came in short or anything like that, it seemed like it would be difficult. And just strictly off of principle, that was whack. So they ended up buying a beautiful house and they're super duper happy with their purchase. But I remember that house, and that's definitely one of the ones that I followed up on. And it just pissed me off. It made me very, very, very angry. I was a very angry realtor that night. I could not get it off my chest quick enough. Let's look at another one. So this situation, I believe, happened in June, and that was when things were crazy, like super crazy. We had some agents if their client liked the house, and we can see that the house has like a lot of activity, like there's no showings allowed or something like that. Now we even have like a wait list option to see a house, and some of the agents were taking the keys to the house. It was that crazy. So if somebody had a showing, their client loved it, and they were tired of showing houses, tired of writing offers, they just took the key and said, oops. So other agents couldn't see it. That happened a lot last summer. So let me take a look at this house. 2904 Berry Creek. So he bought it for $163. He listed this beautiful home at the Rapids at Belmead. He listed it for $250,000 and it closed $30,000 over at $280,000. Okay, so my clients offered $281,000, $10,000 in due diligence, $1,000 in earnest money, like quick close conventional loan, and we got beat out by $280,000 cash. Yeah, this was cash. Oh, I actually sold a house to her too. That's so cool. Sometimes we work, if you sell a lot of houses, you mix and mingle and bump into the same agent multiple times, and I just saw that we got beat out by an agent that I sold a house to. Oh my gosh. Wow. So this client that she's representing, this house was listed at $250. They bought it for cash for $280. My listing that had like 12, 13 offers in like 4 days, because I tried to let the house breathe on the market, sold for $30,000 to her in 3 days. That's crazy. Full circle moment. Okay, I'm gonna do one more because it's honestly getting a little bit depressing. Like looking back at these. Let me see what 148 Crestwood, because I can probably remember this client as well. So 148 Crestwood Drive out in Mount Holly. Again, I remember this client. The house was listed at $259,900 and it sold for $283,000. This was back, May, June. This was when things were crazy. Conventional loan, which was really good. They didn't ask for any seller concessions. They're not out here asking for closing costs and things like that. On this one, my client offered $281,128. So I started just getting creative because a few years ago, I had a client who really liked, this was not a seller's market. This was a shifting market. I had a client that really liked the house and he offered whatever it was in $1 and he won by that $1. So I was like, well, do you have like a favorite number? What's your anniversary? Let's play some birthdays here. Within reason. I'm not going to have them making stupid offers or anything like that. This one, $10,000 in due diligence, and it still sold for $21,228 over list price. How do I get my clients in these houses? And I have gotten a lot of clients. Like this market has been crazy for, ever since COVID. I honestly thought that when COVID happened, well, let me just tell you, the market has been crazy since COVID. I remember when COVID hit, we just got back, I believe, from a cruise. We were one of the last cruises out of Charleston on the Carnival Sunshine, and everybody's eyes were like big. They're like, what's happening in the world right now, right? So we got one last vacation out, and then they shut us down in April. I work predominantly 4 counties. I do work a little bit further, but mostly it's Mecklenburg, Cabarrus, Union, and Gaston counties. I do work a little bit in Iredell County. But those are my 4 counties, and every single county had different restrictions. I was essential in some counties. I was non-essential in others. Every county to this day has different rules when it comes to masking requirements, social distancing requirements. Long story short, April, I sat it out because I'm the type of agent, I want to give you advice that I would want to hear if I was purchasing a home with my money. So I legit sat it out. I was not going to deal with it and give somebody advice and they hate me a year later. So April happened, and then I hit the ground running. So everyone that called me in April 2020, I took care of every single one of them in May because I felt more confident in the new market, the new normal. And May 2020, I ended up putting 11 houses under contract, like super duper fast. I was busy. Like, I don't work that much during the winter because the sun goes down, but I had back-to-back appointments. I packed a lunch and a dinner sometimes in my car. It was crazy. The advice I give people when it comes to dealing with the seller's market, which is our new normal, probably through 2022 into 2023. I honestly feel that way. You have to come correct. It doesn't mean making an offer that you can't back up. I always tell people to look at the comps and see what your appraisal will support. If you want to offer over, you have to offer over knowing that there's a chance that you will have to cover the gap. Builders are even not covering the gap. They're not negotiating the price down because of the delays. They've already sold other houses that are depending upon those appraisals or those comps for the sold. So they're not really negotiating. So even with new construction, I tell people the same thing. So come correct. I'll work with you so you know your numbers. But even before we get to that point, you have got to be pre-approved, not pre-qualified. Pre-approved. There have been so many times where people have come to me with a pre-qualification letter and I urge them, okay, pre-qualification is just them pulling your credit and taking your word for how much money you have, how much money you owe. At this very moment, I don't know how much money I owe. I know I don't have any student loans. I know how much I owe on my car, but I don't know my debt. So if I'm going to purchase a property, I need to provide bank statements and everything so the lender can look at my income, my debt to income ratio, and my credit score, and they can give me an approval letter. And you don't stop there. You get your approval letter and then you say, well, what does this mortgage look like? What does this cash to close look like? And do you feel comfortable with that? Me personally, I don't like to strain. You want to look at your life and how you're living it right now, and your house is just the cherry on top. You don't want to be house poor. When things opened up, you want to be able to go on a vacation if you wanted to. You want to be able to go to the beach without a financial strain. So you have to look at that number very, very seriously, and you got to be honest with yourself, honest with the lender, and please be honest with me so I don't put you in a pickle, and look at houses in that price range. My job is to protect your money. That due diligence fee is non-refundable. The earnest money is non-refundable after the due diligence period. You have to pay inspections and appraisals, and to get you the best house that you can afford, okay? The best house that you can afford. So it's a two-part thing. You get completely approved, turn in all of your documents. We go shopping for a house, and you already know your estimated mortgage, and you already know your estimated cash to close. So we're not surprised when we go under contract and you have to have like a very uncomfortable conversation with me. And I hate uncomfortable conversations, right? Yeah, so all of my clients, they are completely approved. I call lenders up. I'm like, hey, what's the deal with these people? Are there any surprises? Are there any red flags? And we make sure that our information lines up. My preferred lenders and we're on the same page. They understand that I do not want to waste my time. I could be working with another client who is approved. I could be spending amazing time with my family. I don't want to waste my time out there showing people homes that they can't afford or they're not approved to purchase, not qualified. Approved. Real estate is not a window shopping game right now. If you see a house, you see it online, you like it, you see it in person, you like it, you have to be ready, willing, and able to make an offer, a real legit offer. And the offer that you submit, you have to be okay with it not being accepted because that was your best offer. You're not low-key hoping that they will send you back a counter offer. That's been really, really hard for a lot of people, especially these past 2.5 years, and unfortunately this year. It's been really hard for a lot of people because they've had friends and family who purchased in 2012, 2013. Matter of fact, let me just show you guys, okay, a really quick example. So I'm going to just look at the Charlotte region, some of the major places that I sell. Charlotte as a city, Monroe, Hope I could add one more. I can't. Oh, Belmont. Yeah. I want to add Monroe because Monroe is interesting. Okay, so this is called statistical analysis module. I'm going to use what most people come to me looking for, which is like a 3 to 4 plus. I'll use 4 bedrooms across the board for all of them. I'll look at all properties, resale, all that. Single family only. The trend across the board is going up. It's going up. There's like a little bit of a hiccup and it just went crazy. That craziness occurred in June of 2020. June 2020, what happened was the people were tired of being in their homes since March, and they were realizing how small their house was, or they wanted to come from out of state into the area. There was just like a lot of demand. And on top of that, there was a lumber shortage that bumped the prices up. As we went through the years, since COVID, the prices went up because of demand, supply shortage, supply chain, lots of crazy stuff. So this is the median sales price in June 2020. In the Charlotte region as a whole was $327,000. In Charlotte, it was $322,983. Belmont, $380,000, and in Monroe, $272,000. These people that bought in June, we went under contract for our home in June. We were sick of our old home, like legit sick of it. We were like, now's a good time. Interest rates are phenomenal, blah, 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 right? The average price was a little bit different across the board. The average price back then in June was $383, $410 in Charlotte, $442 in Belmont, and $296 in Monroe. Now, look at these lines, right? Look at these lines. September, last summer when I said it was going crazy, from March 2021 till August 2021, the price in March in the Charlotte region was $423,242, and it went all the way up in August to $457,174. And this is just what it's looking like. I think that people are hoping that the market will go down, but you have to take into consideration, let me go back 10 years for all of this information, right? 10 years, you see how it's bumping around. This is the typical seasonal bump that we have where people are moving, putting their house on the market April, trying to get into a new house by August for school. We did see a dip in Belmont. Belmont was like a slow grower. A lot of builders got out there and they bought a whole bunch of cheap land and they built great neighborhoods. Belmont prices have skyrocketed. It's always been a cute area, but it has skyrocketed since 2019. I sold lot 1 in a neighborhood and she already has a crap ton of equity. I don't see the market going down. If you are waiting for the market to go down to what? Are you waiting it to go down to 2014 prices, 2015 prices, 2019 prices? So you want to buy, it doesn't go down to what? Statistically, real estate goes up in value. So I have people who I was working with back in 2015, 2016. She was buying in Charlotte in 2015. I remember because I was pregnant. Charlotte, $321. That was like the average house, which is like 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, a 2-car attached garage in a neighborhood with an HOA under $100 a quarter. That's average, right? In Charlotte. Now our average, and she was waiting, she still hasn't purchased a house. This is January 2022 numbers. She's priced out. Her idea of average that I was showing her in 2015 is no longer average now. It is average, but way more expensive. I remember when I got licensed in 2006, and then that first wonderful 4 years of being a realtor, a question that I heard consistently was, well, how much did the owner buy the house for? What's the tax value on the house? Back then in 2006, I would make offers that were below list price or tax value, loaded. We would ask for closing costs. We would ask for repairs. We would ask for a home warranty, loaded offers. And these sellers had to sell for whatever reason. Loaded offers. Now we're offering $10,000, $16,000 in due diligence, non-refundable money, sight unseen, $21,000 over, no closing costs, no seller concessions, no home warranty. Again, for people who are asking their friends and family, it's a different market. Even my clients who purchased in 2019 and 2020, I sold a lot of houses in Stony Brook Station. like a lot. I sold a lot of Meritage homes since 2019. I've sold a lot of their houses, right? I remember I negotiated this crazy good deal. This was back when Meritage was offering $10,000 in closing costs, which basically covered all your closing costs. And if you had any left over, they would use that difference to pay your HOA for like a few months or like a year. They would just use all the money. They would buy down your interest rate. Interest rates were great. And I have clients that literally live there and they love me because they have amazing equity. So Stony Brook Station is located on the very border of Huntersville. If you're from this area, you're like, oh, that's Charlotte. No, it's technically Huntersville. It's close to a lot of stuff. You can get to 77 very easily, 485 very easily. It's like in a nice little nook and cranny of Charlotte, Huntersville, and Concord. So you have a lot of options when it comes to dining and things like that. Stony Brook Station, in my mind, I just thought that it was going to cap out, and I stopped selling in that neighborhood because I didn't want to mislead people into thinking they would get more value or they would have the same type of equity, because eventually it did cap out at the very end. Remember, I like to sell like first, second phase. So apparently my camera knows when I am going off on a tangent because it got hot and it died because I've been filming for a while now. So I just took some time and cooked dinner, and then I actually wanted to pull up what I was about to talk about, which is how Stony Brook sort of exploded and how I had two people back out of contracts. And I'm just curious. One of them was under contract for a Calhoun, and this was the backload garage version, and they were on an interior street. So if you go to Stony Brook Station, it's not one of the exterior ones. And the other one was on the side that was designated for the traditional style houses. So it's a Calhoun and then a Camden Ranch. I'm just curious because all this drama happened in 2020, and at this time I feel like Meritage was just throwing money. They were negotiating, they were accepting offers, that's not happening right now. If you're not on the VIP list when a new neighborhood comes, you're not gonna you're not gonna be a part of the best pricing type of thing. So in 2020, oh my goodness. So what I'm looking at is I'm trying to find a Camden. This is like the 1-story, 1,682 square feet. No way. So this is the house, guys. You see how it's listed for $353,900? My clients made multiple offers on this house. We started at $325,000 with $10,000 in closing costs, the ability to make changes to this house. They wanted a washer and dryer front load, not the top load, and they wanted a fridge with the bottom freezer drawer. And then Meritage countered back at $323,575. They'll give them the fridge and they'll do the upgrades, which initially was $2,800. And then my clients wanted to add more and keep that $323 price, and Meritage said no, we're going to do $327. This negotiation like never happens right now. And then my clients, once they got that $327, they wanted to go back to $323, and Meritage said take something out, and they said no. And then the offer that was sent to them was the $323, $10,000 closing costs if they used the preferred lender, which is MTH. Then my client sent this email that said, you're giving me a headache. We are now lowering our offer to $320,000, $10,000 in closing costs, and we will use our own lender. Meritage said, you know what, forget it. We're not going to work with this anymore. They both walked away. I didn't work with that person. Don't know what they're doing. But the house ended up selling for $353,900, exactly what they wanted. So they could have gotten this house, because I'm a great realtor, great negotiator, all that good stuff, for under $330,000. Okay, so now let's see what these Camdens, what they sold for, because again, the neighborhood is sold out. Oh, right here above it. 16, that's the exact house. And the difference between this house and the other ones is that this one had a lot of upgrades, like a fireplace and stuff like that. They just lost out on a lot of equity in that neighborhood. And now let me look up the Calhoun, because that one was interesting as well. That was on Midnight Way. So we have a 306 on Midnight Way. It has 2,143 square feet. It actually closed at 306.9, which is $2,000 less than what my client actually went in on it. So that next agent got a good deal. So my clients had it under contract. They backed out 193 days on the market. Another good neighborhood to look at would be Lark Haven, because I sold one of the first 3 or 4 houses. Like, they didn't even have the mail system up correctly. Looking for Calhouns. This is a Calhoun that sold for $385, $870, $368, $120. This is a $281.9. This was back in like beginning of the year. So this is like an even better deal because they came in before my client made their offer, because this is still Hambright. This is the main street that faces the school. I see $354. Oh my goodness. $394. Oh wow. $394,065, and my client could have gotten this same house for $306,000, and they told me that they didn't want to move forward with the contract because they didn't think the market would stick, and that is the definition of something going up and sticking. Meritage was offering $10,000 in closing costs, and now they're offering $8,000 in closing costs. 394,065 minus 306,900. Oh my gosh, $87,000 in equity and closing costs. And they don't even offer that much in closing costs anymore. And the interest rates were ridiculous. I closed at 2.5. That is so wild. What do you tell people? I mean, I told them the truth. I said, this is a great deal. Trust me, all that good stuff. But this is literally proof. They were under contract. It was May 2020, when things just started going crazy. A Calhoun that was 306.9 is now it's sold. When did it sell? September, and it was cash. You can't listen to your friends all the time, especially when your friends have no idea. Like, I do this every day, literally, while I'm on vacation, while I'm sick with COVID. I'm doing something with real estate literally every day. Like, I can feel the market. And so for me to take a break in April and not do anything, and then come back in May and get lots of people under contract, it's just sort of crazy that looking back. So here is a house that's brand new, completed in 2021. It's a Johnson, so it's very similar to the model at that neighborhood. It was listed at $394.9 and it sold for $434. So back when we were negotiating with people in May 2020, they're getting multiple offers, 0 days on market. You see that? Oh, you can't see it because my head is in the way. Multiple offers. And these people were waiving their incentive. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. We did good on our house. We went under contract during COVID, June 2020. We closed January 2021. And we experienced that huge equity bust that I was describing with my chart graphs. It's a lot of information, right? So if you have any questions about the real estate market, if you want to schedule a time to chat with me, I do 30-minute consultations. I do 15-minute chats. I do not talk about NACA. That's going to be like the new Bruno song. Like, I don't talk about NACA at all, because I don't. If you guys would like to chat with me, hire me as your real estate agent, my calendar is open and I am ready, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Until the next video, guys. Bye.